Hi, welcome to Farm to Table with Amber, where we grow, cook, and eat together. Have you ever wondered what freezer jam is? Well, you're not the only person out there that wonders. We sell a lot of freezer jam at our local farmers market, and people ask, what in the world is freezer jam? And it's one of our top selling products, actually, because it tastes so good. And I'm going to tell you in this video why it tastes so good, why it's called freezer jam, how to make it. It's the simplest jam ever. So super, super easy way to have a great jam. And so stay tuned with me and I'll give you some wonderful tips on how to make really good freezer jam. So we're going to make raspberry peach freezer jam. Now, doesn't that look amazing? That color is so beautiful. This is our favorite flavored jam. We love this freezer jam. And you can see the little chunks of raspberries and you can see little chunks of peaches in there. It almost looks like strawberry jam, but it's not. The reason why this is kind of a fun recipe is because you get the flavor of the raspberries without so many seeds. And then the peaches just add a delicious flavor to this jam as well. So this is the kind we're making today. This is what you're going to need. Some peaches and raspberries, of course. So 1.5 cups of raspberries, 1.5 cups of peaches. These are from our garden. They're called the Poca raspberry, Poca. And these are Red Haven peaches. I love that combination. We got the peaches from a neighboring farm. And then you're going to need 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. I like the fresh lemon juice. And then, of course, 5 cups of sugar. Don't skimp on that. It helps with it to set up a little bit. And then a box of pectin. And I like the Sure-Jell pectin. And then 3/4 cup of water. So that's basically all you're going to need. And let's get started. So you want to wash up your raspberries in a bowl full of water. And you can get all of the debris out and leaves and other things. And I will just gently clean these raspberries and get all the debris out. These are really fairly clean. We picked them right out of our garden. And by the way, watch the video on us cutting down the raspberry canes. Our raspberries did amazingly well this year. We decided to cut our canes down so that it didn't have 2 crops. It's a perennial, Poca is. Sorry, not a perennial. It's ever-bearing, so it'll bear twice, both in the summer and the fall. And we've had 2 small crops in the summer and the fall, and we wanted just a larger fall crop. So we cut it back, and this is an amazing fall crop. All right, we'll rinse off one more time. So let those raspberries drain a little bit. Get all the water out of that. And then we're going to mash them up. All right, now the raspberries are ready to be mashed. And I just like to take a potato masher and mash that up. You don't want to mash them too much because the chunks are nice. All right, now I'm going to measure 1.5 cups into this bowl. 1.5. That was actually the perfect amount of raspberries. You saw the 2 pints. So that makes 1.5 cups of mashed berries. Mash those up a little bit more. And now we're ready to put the peaches in. All right, so it takes about 5 peaches to get 1.5 cups of peaches for this recipe. And you can see some of these have a little bit of bruising. I often do use my older peaches to make jam. You can just cut the bruises off if they really bother you. But that way we can always use our peaches by just putting them into jam if you don't like to eat them with bruises. And then we simply just peel the peaches, cut away those bruises, and Then we're going to just slice up these peaches. They don't have to be pretty slices because I'm just going to put them in the blender. Okay, it's time to add the peaches, and I blended them up in the blender. Here's 1.5 cups of peaches. Now you can see I have a little bit left, so those 5 peaches was about perfect. Okay, after adding that, then you add your 5 cups of sugar, and you're going to want to stir this in as you add slowly. Just mix that in with the masher. Isn't that pretty? Make sure you get the clumps out as you're mashing. Now you want to stir this sugar in really well. And then I'm going to add, after this, some lemon juice. So about half of a lemon makes 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. We're just going to do that here. Oh, and the smell of fresh lemons. There's nothing better than that. Except for the taste of raspberry peach freezer jam, right? Let's make sure we have 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. There's 1 and there's 2. That's perfect. So half a lemon gives you 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Now, we're going to let this sit for 10 minutes to let that sugar dissolve, and I'm going to stir it every few minutes. After 2 to 3 minutes, give it a stir. Scrape the sides down. Get all that sugar in there. So now we're going to start the pectin boiling by adding first a cup of cold water, and then we'll add our pectin to this pan. We'll whisk it in. But the reason why freezer jam is superior to any jam in flavor is because you don't cook anything but the pectin. Then you add it to the fresh fruit and the sugar, and that's why you call it freezer jam, is it doesn't have a shelf life. You have to put it in the fridge or freezer. And that's why I think freezer jam is absolutely the best jam ever. Slowly add the pectin and whisk it so you don't get any lumps. See, and you're going to whisk that and then bring it to a boil. And you need to simmer it for 1 minute. Set a timer. And don't let it burn. You'll need to whisk it for a little bit and then let it try to simmer a little more. All right, now that's simmered. So I'm just going to make sure that you got that stirred really well with the sugar. This is gonna be so good. Okay, now we whisk in the pectin. Just going to pour that in. Make sure you get all of the pectin out of the pan, or else your jam may not be thick enough. All we do is boil this pectin. No cooking is needed when you do freezer jam. That is the key to the best jam on the planet, is you don't cook it. All you do is you boil the pectin and add it to your fruit and your sugar and your lemon juice. And then it's important that you stir this for 3 minutes. So set a timer and do it for 3 minutes. Okay, I've been stirring for 3 minutes. Now it's time to put it in the containers. Prepare 5 12-ounce containers, which I have here. And we're gonna fill them. This is a 1/2 cup scooper. So it's probably gonna do about 4 scoops per container. And you don't wanna fill them too full because you need a little bit of headspace for the freezer. Isn't this beautiful? All right, let's see if we can get some in this last one. Looks like we'll save this last little bit and the family will get to enjoy it on some homemade bread. Now you need to let this sit on your counter for about 24 hours or more, and then you put it in your freezer. Store it in your freezer long term and your fridge short term, simply because you don't process it. So it has to stay either in the fridge or freezer. And so here is raspberry peach freezer jam. It's the best. This is our family favorite and it can be yours as well. Thanks for joining me at Farm to Table, where we grow, cook, and eat together. Have a great day.